Okay. Hello and welcome everyone to MarkTalk Opportunities in Marketing. This event connects youth, communities, and professionals. BINUS International Marketing Club. Now, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Fatima Nur Sabrina, and you can call me Sabrina. It is my honor. Hello?
Oke. Lo dari tadi ngomong slow motion, like apa? Boleh diulang aja, diulang. Halo? Oh. Ngomong diulang aja. Oh, like.
Hello? Can you guys hear my voice?
Yes, now it's clear.
Okay, so is it clear now?
Yes, now you can start. It's
okay. Okay, so sorry for the technical difficulties, guys. So hello and welcome to MarkTalk Opportunities in Marketing. This event connects youth, communities, and professionals from companies across Asia Pacific to explore and enhance youth knowledge in marketing through insight share from experts in the field, and also to provide an overview of careers in the marketing field. This event is hosted by APYouthS, Asia Pacific Youth Service, and BIMARC, BINUS International Marketing Club. Now, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Fatima Nur Sabrina, and you can call me Sabrina. It is my honor to be the moderator for all of you today. So, here with me from Indonesia, I would like to welcome all of you with the fellow friends joining us from the Asia Pacific. And do you know that today we have participants joining us from 16 countries? Isn't that exciting? We have people from Indonesia, Vietnam, Malaysia, Laos, India, Timor-Leste, Yemen, Japan, Sri Lanka, Iran, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and more. Next, we also invited and collaborated with 11 community and media partners to reach wider audience. Now, I would like to kindly remind about the regulation for our webinar today. Participants must join the Zoom using the registered name in the registration form. Participants must maintain courtesy during the webinar. Participants are encouraged to turn on the microphone, but participants are encouraged to turn on their camera, but prohibited to turn on their microphone during the webinar unless being asked by the moderator. Questions can only be asked with the chat features throughout the whole webinar, and only those participants who have registered, joined the webinar, and filled in the feedback form will be given a certificate. The feedback link will be given at the end of the webinar, and do please take note that the feedback link will be closed on Sunday, 10 January at 12 p.m. night, GMT plus 7 Jakarta timing. Any violations of regulations, offensive actions, or disruptions of the webinar would result in the removal of the participants from the webinar and or failure to obtain an e-certificate. Now, I would like to elaborate about our webinar today. So each speaker will have around 25 minutes to deliver their materials, and after that, there will be a Q&A session after each speaker has delivered their materials. So you guys can ask your questions through the Zoom or from the YouTube if you join us from YouTube. And also because due to the limited time, our team will pick the questions to be asked during the Q&A session. So now I will not let you guys to wait any longer. And at this time, it is now my pleasure to introduce you our first keynote speaker, Caroline Helina. Caroline is the current brand director at P&G, Procter& Gamble. So now for the sharing part, please join me in welcoming Caroline to start her session. Caroline, the Zoom is all yours. Sure.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Can I check if you can hear clearly?
Hello.
Yes? Okay. Thank you, everyone, for responding in the chat. Thank you for the time for BIMARC and also APYouthS for hosting this important talk. And it's my privilege to spend time with you today to share about what the team wanted me to cover, which is opportunities in marketing. And let me try to share my slide, and then let me know in the chat box if you can see it. Can you see it now?
Yes, we can.
All right. Okay. Sorry, I cannot hear the moderator really well. So just in case if there's anything, just please drop a note in the chat box, okay? Okay, cool. So hello again, everyone. My name is Caroline. So I'm here representing P&G. P&G is Procter & Gamble. So I've been in the company for 8 years now and had a privilege on working various brands in P&G, from Downy, Pantene, Head & Shoulders, Rejoice, Ambipure, Gillette, Pampers. But then over the span of the 8 years, I spent most of my time working on brands like Pampers, Pantene, Gillette, and also Gillette Venus. So I know a lot of you, especially BIMARCers, are also here. So as a fellow BINUSian, I also want to say hi to people from fellow BINUS and also from people calling in from everywhere else. It's a pleasure to meet everyone here in the Zoom, although we have to do it virtually, but I feel very blessed to be here and to share with all of you. So I graduated from BINUS International in 2014, and the other picture is a picture of my family. So my husband, my siblings, who happen also to be in BINUS, and my parents also. So why don't we start with why we're here, right? So basically, why we're here is because we want to have a better understanding on what is it like to work in marketing. And then I will share my stories from my journey, and definitely it will not cover everything in the marketing field. But then I hope that it at least gives you another piece of puzzle on what exactly is out there, and then you're more well informed after the session. So briefly about the context, because a lot of the stories I'll be sharing is about my company. So a brief story about P&G. P&G started 180 years ago with starting as a soap company, actually. So William Procter, James Gamble, they were brother-in-law. They started as a candle maker, and then Gamble was actually a soap maker. Today, P&G is now one of the biggest fast-moving consumer goods in the world. And then it has operations in more than 80 countries. There are more than 300 brands sold in more than 160 countries around the globe. So here's a picture of the team before the pandemic, of course, a few years back, and holding the brands that we have here in Indonesia. I'm sure a lot of you probably have these brands at your home. So we have Rejoice, Vicks, Olay, Oral-B, Downy, Head & Shoulders, Pantene, Gillette, Pampers. We have more like SK2. So those, Herbal Essence also. So those are the brands that we have here in Indonesia. So what we believe in is we believe in finding small but meaningful ways to improve lives now and for generations to come. So this might sound very theoretical, but then what do we really mean by this? I'll tell you a story. So this is an example on what exactly it means by improving the next generation, right? So the picture of this grandpa is actually Fig Mills. Fig Mills started as P&G engineer. He has a grandson, and then he was frustrated about, how can I make an easier way for my grandson to wear a diaper? And then he invented Pampers in the 1950s. So with all that frustrations and with all that consumer insights about, it's difficult to wear diapers without a proper solution, he invented Pampers. Today, Pampers is one of the biggest brands for P&G. It's the first $10 billion brand for P&G. It's manufactured in more than 30 plants in 25 countries, available in more than 100 countries. So this is an example on why we exist. We want to improve your everyday life, the seemingly boring stuff to do, but we want to provide personal care products that can help improve your life. So what is the X factor, right? So one of the questions that the committee asked me, what's important and what exactly is the X factor, what makes me want to stay in P&G so far for 8 years. So the first reason is basically we share the same value. We share the same value, integrity, which means P&G wants us to always do the right thing. And then leadership means that taking real ownership about what you're responsible for. And then ownership thinking that the company's assets is your own assets. So treat it like your own money. What would you do in this situation? Would you spend the resources that way? Would you put the people in those businesses? So own really as a big ownership for the business. We also value passion. And what we mean by passion here is basically we determine in doing our best in everything that we do. We want to win. So passion for winning, competitiveness is something that is in our blood. The last one is trust. And trust is a big word. But what we mean by trust is we respect all P&G employees, colleagues, consumer, the retailers the same way. And we treat everyone the same way they want to be treated. I'll emphasize on a few things on what I think is also very important and very dear to me. P&G people is committed to doing things the right way. I remember at first when I started my onboarding in P&G, one of the case study that the HR leader at that time shared to me was, what would you do if you enter a restaurant? So before the pandemic, you eat in a restaurant, and then you go to bathroom, and then you accidentally saw a very confidential document that belongs to Unilever, for example. And we were given options on what we do. Do we take it and give it to the do we give it to the restaurant manager? Do we take a look at it? Do we bring it back? Or to what do we do? So basically the right answer of doing the right way strikes me, right? Because P&G, the right way to do it is that you have to give it to P&G legal, and then P&G legal will ship it back also with safety to Unilever's legal, because that's not supposed to be there, and we don't want to compete in a way that is not right. So I believe that this is something I hold very dearly, and P&G really, really holds very dearly. And it makes us sleep very well at night, knowing that the company always wants us to do the right things the right way. In a simple word, I'll put it, always choose the harder right rather than the easier wrong. So that's also one of the biggest reasons why I stayed in P&G. Second one is P&G culture, which is grow from within. So majority of the roles in P&G, we are hired from the very beginning. Like when you're students, when you're new graduates, and then you grow step by step in P&G. So it is very rare case, maybe for just some specialist roles in the company that you would hire from outside, let's say, and then fill in managerial position, leadership position, but that's very, very rare. So what we do is that we groom people from down below step by step. And the CEO was once also a new hire, and that's the culture within P&G. And why is this important? It means that the culture of mentoring, the culture of grooming people, coaching people is very important, because we know preparing the next generation of leaders is the only way for us to also grow the company sustainably. And our measure as business leaders is not only delivering business results, but also organization growth. So going to the core, right? How do you define marketing? Basically, marketing to me is very simple. In P&G, we call marketing function brand entrepreneur. And what does it mean by brand entrepreneur, right? It means being proactive, taking the initiative, staying on top of the milestone, on top of the deadlines, following up with others to get their input, looking beyond the obvious, everything. An entrepreneur will actually do everything to win in the market, right? In the right way. So marketing in P&G we define as a brand entrepreneur. So you have to have a high ownership of your brand, and an entrepreneur will do what it takes, not only to meet expectation, but to exceed expectation. So what are we measured on, right? Marketing function in P&G, what are we measured on? KPI, maybe most of you more familiar with. We're measured for things: sales growth versus the target, penetration, which is new users coming into the market, and also to your category. Market share, are you winning versus the competition externally? For example, in hair care, are you winning versus Unilever? Are you winning versus Sunsilk, for example? Those are market share. And then in order for you to grow the sales, the penetration and market share, are you doing it in a way that is efficient enough to also deliver the profit. So basically you can see it's an end-to-end. And in marketing, the core of marketing is winning the heart of the consumers. And what does this mean, right? This is an example of a who-inspired business challenge. We call it who is because we put the consumer in the center. So business objective could look like this, right? You want to get competitive paste, so odol or in bahasa, to trade into Oral-B paste, for example. Or you want current Pantene conditioner users to trade across. So they're only using shampoo today, you want them to use Pantene conditioner. So that's also could be another business objective. Or you also can, me working in Gillette, previously was in Pantene, now in Gillette. So how do you trade up people who is using the lower tier brand to a more higher tier brand? So those are the business objectives. For example, this billboard, right? This billboard basically is essentially telling you that McDonald's who's now mostly known by certain products that they sell, but then they serve a wide variety of breakfast offers. So as you can see, they creatively put the McDonald's logo, and this is actually indicates the time, like 6 a.m., 7, 8, 9. So the sun will actually go to that little thing on the top and then point out what's the best thing to have during that time. So this is something that people don't know and or maybe haven't consumed as a McDonald's consumer, which is their breakfast set. So marketing is not necessarily just doing media, creating TV commercials. It's not that. Marketing is about enabling your business to grow. And then it starts with a really blank canvas approach, right? When you're given a brand, the blank canvas approach says that, okay, you have a target of, let's say, a 20% growth or a 50% growth, for example. What would you do to grow? And then as a business owner, you need to create the roadmap, right? The roadmap to get there. What are the milestones? What are the innovations that you will bring in which retailer do you want to play? You create the roadmap. So the blank canvas means that you can do anything that what you think is right to win in your market. Creating the roadmap is creating the milestones. So how do you determine the milestones, right? Like how do you determine what's the right milestones? So I introduced you 2 words, and maybe some of you have heard this before. The first one is size of price. Size of price is basically how big is your market potential. For example, in Indonesia, which is only a 2-season country, like at my home right now is raining hard, or it's going to be very, very hot. Definitely winter clothing versus summer clothing. Summer clothing would have bigger market potential, right? Bigger size of price to win in Indonesia. However, the bigger market doesn't mean that that's what you should go after immediately, because you also have to measure the right to win. Is your product or services has the right value equation, so have the right offering to win in that segment, for example? Because a lot of players already exist in summer clothing, right? What are you offering? Are you unique? Are you better than what they're using today? Are you better in also value? Value means the quality versus the price that you offer. Is it do you have the right to win in that segment? So with these 2 bases of how big is the market potential and whether or not you have a right to win with what you're offering, either product or services, you create those roadmaps. So how do we do this on a daily basis, right? So a day in a life for me at work. So at work, right now we're at home fully for the past 9 months. 50% is really internal. Internal, what it means, working with the team, doing virtual meetings, working with the regional team who is located either in Singapore or in Dubai. But the other 50% is working with external parties, working with agency partners, creative agencies, working with media partners, and we're also working with our key retailers like Indomart, Alphamart, because you have to translate those strategy into execution in life in the store that consumers can see. So this is probably all the things that we have to juggle on a daily basis. This is also a picture of one of my favorite thing to do, which I really miss doing in this pandemic, which is doing field work. Just going on a motorcycle, going into the stores, small retailers, talking to the consumers, talking to the retailers, because at the end of the day, we want to make their lives better. And we need to know what are the barriers in the market. So important thing in marketing is also staying in touch with whom you are serving in the market. And not only this filter is one of my favorite thing, like once in a year or maybe twice in a year, you get fancier days where you get to host like a PR launches. These are just some of the pictures from the past from the brands that I've worked with on Pampers, Pantene, and also Gillette. So these are just one of the fancier days that most of you probably thought that, oh, marketing is all fancy, but it's not all that. This is just one of it. And if this is what is required to win in your business, you might choose to do it as a marketer and a business leader. But then, as what I've shared before, there are many aspects that needs to be considered in doing marketing. So what are the different marketing roles, right? Are there different marketing roles? And I'll give you an example for P&G. So P&G has three different regions, right? Global, regional, and local. So three different divisions for marketing jobs in P&G. So the global folks will focus on brand direction and innovations globally that comes in the range of the 3 to 5 years. So they look at global trends, they look at global from the global lens. And then you have the global team, by the way, sits in Cincinnati, most of them in. And then regional team, for example, in Asia Pacific, looks at the innovation for the next 1 or 2 years. So you can either pick up the innovations from global, which you think is relevant to Asia Pacific, or you can create innovations which is making sense for your total region. Basically, their focus is 1 or 2 years. They create innovations which have scale so that all the markets or most of the markets can take the same innovation. Local markets, like what I do right now, focuses on having the best understanding of the consumers and also the retailers on the ground so that you can develop the plans, bring it to life, the brand building, the go-to-market plans. How do you make it efficient? How do you make it effective from marketing, selling, distribution, merchandising, pricing, shelving, everything, you name it. Basically end-to-end, how do you bring it to life? And the focus is 6 months to the next 1 year. So that's how we divide and conquer in P&G. So there's also questions on what skills is needed in 2021. Basically, we're entering a new year right now, and although 2020 was a very tough year, and I know also to most of you, but 2021 will things be different, and how do we look at it, right? Because from not only from personally that it's difficult year to enter, but also from business side, it's still going to be a challenging year. So I only talk about two things here, which is needed as a marketers in 2021. The first one is adapting. So adapting is really the key to surviving any crisis, right? So we happen to be in a world where things are really unpredictable, which we have a huge hit. So adapting is being able to look at your business, look at your brands, see whether or not some things are still relevant to be done. Is this investment still making sense? And then can we adapt? Is the consumer behavior different? Are they still shopping the same way? Are they considering the same things pre and post the pandemic? So those are the things that we need to consider, and we have to adapt. We have to constantly learn. We cannot do just business as usual. We need to be able to adapt. And adapting means also going out from our comfort zone. There's going to be a lot of things that we are not familiar. So we have to be able to open ourselves, learn, and adapt. The second one is digital fluency is really essential. We've seen more than ever, a lot of businesses, not only multinational companies, but even small, medium enterprise or even home industry, right? The businesses that survive up to this point, to some extent, have fluency in digital. More and more people are shopping online, for example. And when business are tough, you have to make harder choices. Let's say on your marketing spending. Can you use data? Can you use tools to target your market better, to learn and adapt better, to drive better efficiency? So digital fluency is very essential. Digital marketing has become part of every business because that's going to be the new normal. And for example, also businesses that has not entered e-commerce before are forced to enter that field and learn their way in, because that's also where the consumer is going. But essentially, adapting and digital are the two things that we need to constantly learn as a marketer in 2021. So the last question that I was given is, if you could turn back the time, what would you tell yourself when deciding a career in marketing? So the first one I'll say is be curious, reach out, talk to people in the industry. So when I was in campus, right, I rarely have the news from other companies on what's the opening and this and that. Like we don't hear a lot of those at my time. So you have to be curious, you have to reach out and talk to people, like how you spend time today in this Saturday afternoon, talking to people in industry. That's how you get to know what's out there and what's available for you beyond what is pushed or what is available to you in your eyes. You have to reach out, be curious. The second one, you will never know until you try. And I remember my first day during the internship, like I literally can't imagine like what is working like, and then what do I need to do? Like, how do I deal with these people? There's so many things that you don't know, and that's okay because you don't know until you try. So don't think too much. Step in, try, and do your best. You will really never have the full information until you try it for yourself. And the third one, related to number 2 in trying, do not be afraid of it not working out. That's okay, because choosing a career is not like marriage, right? It's not like once in a lifetime. So if it doesn't work out, it's okay. Finding the right company is a two-way street. So you have to also find what fits for you. The company is also looking for someone that fits them. So it's okay if it doesn't work out. There's other choices. That's why you have to be curious, reach out, and constantly know what's out there. So if you want to do something that matters, come and join us. This is the website. A lot of you ask, like, where can I apply? Can I send you my CV? The easiest, quickest way is just go to this website. Basically, the website will land you here. You can select the country where you want to work with. Let's say in Indonesia, you can see the openings. There's buttons down below if you're looking for internship, your recent grad or entry-level opportunities. What if you're experienced, you want to find professional opportunities? All the informations are available on the website. And the first step of applying is also through the website. And also for those of you specifically in Asia Pacific region, right? I'm here showing the one in Indonesia, but there's also the same competition, CEO Challenge. This is basically for university students. University students, you can apply. There's competitions in the region. The openings is up to January 24th right now. For Indonesia is now open. So go to this website and register. It's basically a competition, a business challenge competition. And I happened to start my career in PNG through the similar competition. So I was applying for internship in the website. And then it turns out that I applied for marketing internship, and I didn't know. I applied like 6 months before, 6 months before the internship time. And then the HR called saying that, hey, the internship is not open yet. Do you want to join the competition instead? So I thought, okay, join the competition. What do I do? Okay, go to an interview, join the competition. And it happens to be one of the best experience I had during my university days. So I encourage you to try, although it's going to be virtual, but I'm sure you're going to have a lot of fun. And if you're looking for internship also, so internship right now is already starting. So January to March is already starting, so we're close for that. But there's another one coming up in July to September. You can check the same website for registration, or you can follow the Instagram of pgcareers.id for updates. And also bonus of picture back in 2013 when I started my days in PNG as an intern. So that's that from me. Right now, I don't want to hear from you. So any questions?
Okay, thank you very much, Caroline, for your incredibly amazing sharing session. I surely believe that everyone here has gotten some insights, right? Or at least learned something from our speaker here, Caroline. So now we have come to the most awaited part, which is the Q&A session. Okay, so we've got several questions here from Zoom and YouTube, and I will help read it out to you, Caroline. Don't worry. Okay, so the
Sure.
first question is from YouTube. It's from Rafli Fauzi. Is offering quality in marketing still worth it? What do you think, Caroline?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Is offering quality in marketing still worth it?
What
Okay,
equality?
I've just posted. I posted it in
In the
the
chat
chat
box?
so you can see. Yeah.
Oh, okay. The question is offering quality in marketing still worth it? Thank you, Sabrina. Let me try to understand the question, or probably because I can't talk to the one who asked the question to ask for their clarifications. But quality here, I'm defining as a quality product in the market. Is that what do you think they refer to, Sabrina? Like, do we need to still provide the best quality in marketing, or what do you think is the definition of the question?
Okay, I think the definition of the question is the quality in general. Like, for example, sometimes people see, for example, a product, they see the quality first. So do you think businesses would think that qualities in a product is something that should be more apa ya ditonjolkan or more being presented to the customers?
Right. Got it. Okay, cool. So thank you, Sabrina. That helps. Basically, quality and marketing. The short answer to that is yes, it's important. However, we also know that in this pandemic, right, people are more conscious about value. People are more conscious about pricing. But does that mean we have to provide a lesser quality? I don't think that's the way to look at it, right? The way to look at it is consumer never saw price or quality independently. They evaluate price and quality together. That's what they call value. For this quality, am I paying the price which is worth it or not? So they all constantly weigh between the two. So the kind of quality, is it really the best, or is it the better one, or is it just a good one, or is it standard? It cannot be standalone. You have to look at how much is the pricing that they offer with those quality levels. So what's most important is that defining what your potential consumers will see as the best value, which is the combination of the quality that they're looking for and the price that they pay. And you have to also look at your competition. If your competition is offering quality, which is better at a lower price compared to you, meaning you, although you think that you have the right, but maybe you don't have the right to win because you're not offering something which is better versus what they're already using today. Most of the time, what you're offering, they already have a product or a service for it right now in their home. So we have to constantly evaluate whether what we're offering is better. Back to you,
Cool.
Sabrina.
So it's about the balance, right? On how to balance it and
Yeah, balance with
how to know. Yeah, exactly. And how to know in which kind of thing that the consumers would actually look more. Okay, awesome.
correct.
Okay, so we have another question here from Alia. But first, before I ask,
Alia,
is my voice clear yet or no?
clear, clear.
Okay, great, awesome. Okay, so we have a question here from Zoom. Alia Shafira Mashuri. Do you have any tips and advice for students who are not from business management or marketing majors to develop their marketing skills. Do you have any resources for us to learn from? What do you think, Caroline?
Okay, thank you, Alia, for the question. So for students who doesn't come from business management background, right? Don't be afraid, because when you enter a role in a job, for example, in P&G, I look at it as a school versus a concert, right? So you're not necessarily trying to showcase that you are that good or you're that smart, but you're there to learn. So if the question is, where can I learn? There's so many available resources online right now that you can read journals, you can read publications about marketing. On YouTube, there's tons of videos available there. And even you can also have mentors in the field, right? You can reach out to people on LinkedIn or maybe to your seniors and then talk to them, learn about it. There are many ways for you to do it. And at the same time, do not be afraid to apply to a job which is not matching to your education. Because for example, in P&G Indonesia, for example, the finance director, actually he studied law. And then the marketing leader also did not study marketing. They studied like chemical engineering, for example. What it says is that the quality that we're looking for is more a quality of potential business leaders that is eager to learn and is open to learn. And then a lot of things can be learned throughout your career life. So do not be afraid, but prepare yourself, get the resources online, talk to people in the industry. If you have some spare resources to spend, you can also apply to a lot of short courses, applications available to study beyond what you're studying today. And if you also have the courage and the bravery to try to do your own business, even if it's small, learning through experience will also equip you with valuable experiences. Thank you.
Great, great. So is your question answered yet? I think already. Okay, so let's go on to the next
Yeah.
question. We have this question is quite long, so I will help rephrase it for you. So basically,
Sure.
it's from Anissa Febriana. She is asking, so how does generic products like, for example, shampoo brands from P&G would create differentiation from the other shampoo brands from P&G? So how does it create the competitive advantage to differentiate from the other competitors if it's something generic?
Mm,
Okay.
okay. So the question is, how do we create differentiation in a product which is considered generic like shampoo? Is that correct, Sabrina?
Yeah, correct.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. So it's a very interesting question. Thank you for asking that question. So basically, in creating differentiation, right? In creating differentiation, brands have to define what they stand for. So for example, Pantene um, stands for beautiful hair. Not only that it's beautiful because it's healthy. It's healthy. Because it's healthy, that's why it's beautiful. So all our communications and all our products are centered towards the fact that the product gives you health benefits to your hair, that it can shine your hair and look beautiful. So how do you create differentiation, right? You create differentiation, for example, in Indonesia, for shampoo, the biggest needs in Indonesia is either dandruff removal or hair fall, rontok and ketombe. Those are the two biggest benefits that the market is seeking. So how do we create differentiation, right? Creating differentiation means that you need to be able to do or solve the consumer's problem better versus what they're using today. So in P&G, we have a principle that if your product does not provide a better solution to the consumer versus what the consumer is using today, we will not enter that category in this market. So creating differentiation is understanding the consumer needs. What are the failure points of your competition today? For example, if someone is using anti-dandruff shampoo, but then it doesn't last for long, for example. It only lasts for 8 hours. So know what are the failure points of also your competition that you're trying to solve with your product. It still could be the same generic problem and still shampoo that is answering the problem. But then today, your consumer, with a deep understanding of your consumer, you'll be able to pinpoint what are the areas that they're still dissatisfied today, and how can you come in as a brand providing a better solution to it.
Awesome, great. So if I can summarize that, it will be about how to understand the consumer's need and to identify the failure points from that product so we can say to the consumers indirectly about what is the differentiation that the products that P&G wants to bring, right? Okay,
Correct,
so
correct. Because consumer at the end of the day, they rarely, rethink their choices. I mean, if it's working well for you, why are you rethinking your choices, right? Like it already works well for me. So for you to win their hearts, you need to know what is it that they're still lacking, and then we can play that part for them.
well, that actually relates to how we build a brand that people love, right?
Yes,
Okay, so
exactly.
we have another question here from Alfarid. Nowadays, digital impact is very important to promote our product, but how do we
Mm.
deal with the products in which the target markets are not very familiar with social media?
Okay, great question. Great question. So um, basically that's the same problem that we are also problem solving, right? So although if you recall, part of my presentation is digital fluency, but unfortunately, as the question rightly articulate, not all consumers, not all products have target market which is fluent to digital. They might not even exist in social media. So what do we do, right? What do we do about it? So essentially, it comes back to understanding what your consumers is doing on a daily basis. What are their source of information? So understanding what source of information that they're getting. For instance, you can research on that target group, and for example, they consume information from the radio, for instance, or TV is still their main platform of information. Or, for example, there are communities gathering, arisan, for example, or other gatherings that they attend to on a regular basis. So, although consumers does not exist in social media, it does not mean that they're not reachable, because they also find information, but just in different ways. So the way to go after a target market, go after the target market, which is not available in social media, is just go back to what they're consuming today. Because what you want to do is you intercept, right? You intercept their life, try to talk to them through the mediums, be it people, be it communities, be it media touch points like radio or TV or other stuff like SMS, even, right? Mobile SMS, for example. Those are the other things that you can consider to use, and we have also used in the right now and in the past for the bulk of Indonesia business, which is still not consuming digital in the lower end part of the business.
Great. Okay, so we have another question here from Rachel Amabel.
Mm,
So it's actually
mm.
specifically for you, Caroline. What is your biggest achievement in the marketing field, and what was the problem that you solved? Are there any problems when
Okay.
you did that? Okay.
Okay, sure, sure. I think I'll pick up one example when I was working in hair care. So I think the one thing that I'm most proud of is the launch of Pantene anti-lepec, anti-lip, anti-lepec. So basically at that time, the problem is we were trying to grow as a business, right? Pantene. But Pantene is already the market leader. And then everyone is already using shampoo. And every brand would already have a hair fall shampoo, would already have a anti-dandruff shampoo and all other shampoo available. So my job at that time was to find out, are there missing problems that are not solved by any of the products today? So I speak to many consumers, going to consumer homes, spend 2 hours in every consumer's homes, going to rural areas. And there are one commonalities, right? Although people have hair fall and then have dandruff, for example, but a lot of people says that one of the biggest problem that they have is also lepek. And then at that time, P&G was about to launch a product, and we said, okay, do we have a solution for limp hair, for flat hair, right? Flat hair. And then we said, okay, we have the product for it. We can innovate for it. But then what do we call it, right? What do we call it? And then there are options that is already being worked. And then they want to call it Pantene Volume. So Pantene Volume. And at that point in time, me as a very young entry-level marketer entering in P&G, I come to the meeting and I said to them that, you know what? People in Indonesia are not calling it volume. People do not articulate the problem as if they say, oh, my hair needs more volume. But they said my hair is limp or lepek. And in Indonesia, apparently a removal of something negative, so anti-dandruff, anti-hair fall, anti-limp works better compared to positive reinforcement like volume. So that I changed the product name, changed the advertising, changed the in-store materials, and then Pantene Anti-Lepek remains to be one of the most successful launch that P&G has in Indonesia. And then up to now, nearly 2.5 to 3 years that I've left that business and went to Gillette, the business is still growing and it's still one of the core source of growth for Pantene. So that's one example.
Great. So now you guys know, right? Businesses do need to adapt how they communicate or how they promote their brands according to the segment market. So it's according to their needs, right? Because in the end,
That's
it's
true.
them who buys it, right? Okay. Okay. So now let's take another question here
Mm.
from Indah Apriliani. Based on your opinion and experience, is there any possibility that people with the major that are not related to marketing can have a career on marketing? What do you think?
Yeah. Definitely, definitely, right? It's I think the misconception that exists, even to me and my peers when we look for jobs, right? We thought that what we study is definitely going to be our career. That's not going to be the case for everyone, and that's okay. Because a lot of the things that you learn in your job field later on once you graduate, you will anyway start learning from zero. And most of the time, people think that, yeah, but I carry so much knowledge already. And then whether or not that will give me an advantage. Maybe that will give you an advantage in the short term, but then people can also catch up and learn in that field. So the short answer to that is don't be afraid to try. And definitely we're looking for people with soft skills, right? People that have experience in problem solving, people that can lead in difficult circumstances, people that can work with others through a conflict, people that can operate with discipline, and people that can adapt to changes. So those are the qualities that I think people can build throughout many experiences, and it does not have to be just coming from a marketing education background or business management. So yeah.
Okay, great, great, great. Okay, so we have another question here from Evelyn Aurelia. So, Caroline,
Sure.
how do you deal with your competitors in this pandemic era and especially in this new year in the marketing sector? So, are there any specific shift in the go-to-market strategy that your company has currently developed?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the question. Definitely, there has been a lot of changes that we have been making due to this pandemic, right? And it boils down to the fact that consumers' behaviors are really changing. For example, in the beginning of the pandemic, we saw one of the most impacted channel, for example, is the stores, supermarkets that are located in the malls, right? Oh, big impact, big impact in those supermarkets. And then we also saw the huge impact in the traditional market. So pasar, warung, also very impacted because mobility is limited, right? But then we also saw that more and more people are coming to mini markets, for example. Alphamart, Indomart, they're going there as an alternative. So definitely knowing how your consumer moves and change their behavior, we as a business, we also have to adapt to how we deal with those changes. And that shifted our focus on, how do we fix the channel which is not growing, and then where the consumers are shopping, how do we win there, for example. And then one of the example is more than ever, the attention to e-commerce, for instance, we have put dedicated resources to it. For example, like 1 or 2 years back, maybe it's really just like out of all the priority lists, like e-commerce comes as one of the things that we will do. But right now we have even dedicated people working on that part of the business because how important that is. So yes, a short answer to that is you have to adapt. Your go-to market has to win on where your consumer is shopping.
Okay, so I think the question has been answered by Caroline, very elaborate. So I think this will be the last question for the Q&A session with Caroline here. Unfortunately, due to the time, so it's not convenient. Okay, so it's from
No
Venecia.
problem.
Caroline, why is online marketing is more preferred over the traditional offline marketing, and what are the most effective ways to improve digital marketing?
Okay. I think online marketing is preferred over offline. I think I would slightly correct that statement. It really depends on consumers that you're serving, right? So, for example, if your target market is young people, for instance, you're selling games, for example, games, e-sport softwares, or games, or anything related to young people from the age of, let's say, 15 to 25. Definitely the media that they consume are mainly digital. So it's more important for them. But then to the other question that was raised, right? What if my consumers does not even use social media? So definitely the offline marketing would be a better choice. So assuming, right, in the areas of this question is if your target market is consuming digital more than offline media, how do you win in the digital market and how do you constantly improve? So the beauty of being in the digital marketing is that the availability of data is crazily big, right? It's big data. Um, you can really see the movement real time. You can understand, for instance, by the time the consumer click on advertising, whether or not they land on a certain page, whether they click exit on their page, that page specifically, or they do not even look at it. Do people pause on that advertising and look at it? And then, or people just scroll it through? There are tons of ways to actually learn and optimize in digital marketing. So what I encourage you to do, if this sounds really new to you, then learn, because in online also resources, and then also, for example, as a Facebook advertiser, and maybe hopefully you'll learn more from Samantha later, who I think is a better expert than me in this area. You can learn from also Facebook advertiser, for example. There are a lot of modules that is being given to the advertisers to learn how do you optimize your advertising. So be open, research. Do not just put money on digital marketing and then you don't track it, you don't learn, you don't constantly improve. Find key metrics, key data that is the indicator of your success in digital marketing. Because at the end of the day, you want people to stop and look at your ads. You want people to be convinced. You want people to take action. And those are the things that is possible to be measured on digital with the availability of tools that is available right now.
Awesome, Caroline. So now you guys know tools like technologies are extremely crucial, especially in businesses. So because it helps us to manage our brands better. So actually, that was the last question for Caroline. Unfortunately, it's very nice talking to
No
you, Caroline,
problem.
and thank you very much for answering the questions from our fellow friends here. So thank you very much for the insightful and inspiring sharing session. Now, I would like to
Thank you.
introduce our second keynote speaker for today, Samantha Kuan. Samantha is the current Global SMB Marketing Manager at Facebook. So, without further ado, please join me in welcoming Samantha Kuan. Samantha, the Zoom is all yours.
Hi everyone. Thanks for having me. So good afternoon. I'm speaking from Singapore. I'm just going to share with you some of my experiences doing marketing in my career so far. So yeah, just some pictures of me. Actually, my background is very similar to Caroline. I was working at Unilever. I started my career there as a management trainee, and I also got into the competition via a competition. So I would highly, encourage all of you in Indonesia to take part in the competitions that are available to you as undergraduates, because you really, you never know the opportunities that might come. So yeah, I've been, doing marketing for the past the past 8 years now. I've done about 6 years in consumer packaged goods in Unilever. And yeah, just some pictures. I'm very passionate about social inequality. And in Singapore, my friends and I, we volunteer at a non-profit called Readable, where we teach low-income kids how to read. And they're from different parts of Southeast Asia, or English is not their first language. Yeah, I also, like the outdoors, and I do a lot of traveling and hiking. So yeah, this is a little bit about me. So yeah, so I graduated in 2012, and from Singapore Management University. Actually, I graduated with an econs degree and a major in marketing. And then I joined Unilever in a program, and I was very privileged to be able to live in Vietnam and the Philippines in my time in Unilever for a year and a half. And I've been, I've done marketing for a whole portfolio of goods, from detergent to Lipton tea, to selling ice cream in Myanmar. So I've tried, both regional and local marketing in Unilever, specific to brand management and program management. And then I joined OFO, the bicycle company that shut down. Some of you might remember it. And then I entered Facebook in 2018. I'm onto my second role in Facebook, which is a global SMB marketing manager role, focusing on small businesses. But previously I was, creating programs for large businesses. So today I'll share a little bit with you about B2B marketing in particular, because Caroline focused a lot on B2C marketing today. But just wanted to share with you, like there's so much in marketing, right? There's so many different parts of marketing. These are just some of the areas I have, had the experience, have had experience in. A little bit of brand communications and advertising when I was an intern, a little bit of brand strategy, doing branding, and also another internship. And then brand management at Unilever. So a lot of the marketing work, like Caroline what was saying earlier, a lot of it is talking to the consumers, going to the supermarkets to do trade checks, speaking to sellers, and then there's a lot of brand strategy, a lot of project management, a lot of brand management, managing how do you create from raw material to finished goods and put it on the shelf and create a promotion around it, right? So all of that is B2C, very traditional FMCG, consumer goods marketing. And then right now I'm doing B2B marketing. So basically my target audience now are, right now is small, medium advertisers, but I've also been, Facebook also of course reaches out to large clients and global clients, large local clients like your Tokopedia, right? And a whole lot of different business sizes in different industries. So that's B2B marketing. And then of course there's digital marketing, which I don't really do, but that is Facebook's job, right? I mean, Facebook, the bread and the butter of the business is marketing technology. That is a form of digital marketing. So so similar to Caroline, a little bit different. I've because I'm based in Singapore, a lot of the roles are regional. So in Unilever, I was doing a Southeast Asia role where my counterparts are the local marketing, counterparts, and I work close and I had some local marketing stints in Vietnam and the Philippines. And then Facebook, of course, Singapore is the APAC market. So the APAC regional market. So it's also in charge of North Asia, South Asia. But now I'm moving on to a global role. So globally, of course, it depends on where the company's headquarters are. The Facebook's one is in the US. So right now I'm in a US based role. But the job is global. So it oversees global markets. Okay, so a little bit about Facebook. I'm sure I'll breeze through this. So the Facebook, our mission is to give people the power to build community and to bring the world closer together. And of course, you guys are all big users of Facebook, I'm sure. Or if not, you would be a user of WhatsApp, Messenger, Instagram, and this is the huge reach that we have on the platform. We have about 2.74 billion monthly users on Facebook today. And all of our apps, we see around 2 billion daily users. And 100 billion messages are sent using the different messaging services, and I'm sure you're definitely using one of them. And people buy and sell goods and services across our family of apps. So there is buy and sell groups, there's Instagram, there's Marketplace, there's Messenger. And I know in Indonesia, there's a very big community on WhatsApp selling and using WhatsApp for business. So this is one of the powers of Facebook, which is commerce. And this is, the company is investing a lot in this. And we want to enable small, medium businesses to be able to sell on our platforms. So Facebook, so that is the business side of Facebook, right? But Facebook's all about bringing the world closer together. So we also have Facebook groups, which is where 1.4 billion people use them. So you can find anything from a hobby or for people with specific interests, or if you find there are all sorts of Facebook groups, right? There are people like looking for their long lost friends, like classmates, or people with, children with very rare diseases and they want to connect with other people in the world. So that's the power of building community, and Facebook facilitates that via Facebook groups. There's also charitable giving. So Facebook has a donation, a fundraiser tool where you can raise money for different organizations, and about $1 billion have been raised, and actually more today. So Facebook also, takes responsibility in the way it sees crisis management. So I'm sure you've seen the safety check, right? And this is, this is our responsibility as a company with such large impact, where, most of the world is a huge part of the world is on this platform. So this is, one way we, our products and tools connect the world and bring people closer together. Yeah, so you can do things like, finding blood donors, right? Suicide prevention, mentorship. So I think these are the things that the social good arm of Facebook does, because we recognize that, this is the core of the company, right? We believe that we can use technology for good and bring people closer together. So I'm just going to touch a little bit about the business side of Facebook. So there are a huge number of small, medium businesses on the platform, and then with large to medium advertisers, and then with global agencies and global clients. So global clients are clients that, like it's a multinational corporation like Unilever, like P&G, right? A large local advertiser, maybe it's something like Tokopedia, right? And then there are a lot of small, medium businesses with business pages on Facebook, and we see them as verticals. So these are the different industries that these businesses are in, but we support all of them, right? So within Facebook, there are people whose jobs are are divided by these verticals because they specialize in these verticals. So I have to start off by saying that, like in Facebook and marketing, actually there are not many fresh grads. Like the company typically hires mid-career hires and people of experience because we have been in industry before, so we understand what people in industry are looking for from Facebook, right? But there are a lot of opportunities as an undergrad in engineering, in sales, a lot of there's a huge all our SMB account managers, a lot of them are like Facebook has a fresh grad program the last couple of years. So I encourage you guys to check out the Facebook careers page for these opportunities. If a career in Facebook doing account management sales is something that you're interested in. But I'll share a little bit more about B2B business in general, just so you can get an idea of what B2B marketing is like. So within Facebook, there are many different teams, right? And these are just some of the teams that I know of what B2B marketing in Facebook looks like. So I do project management. So that means like we come up with different programs that may be important for the business, like important topics such as conversational commerce or social commerce. This is a very big topic, and we know that everyone wants to hear more about this topic. And so we create a program around these topics to show leadership or show thought leadership that Facebook is very aware of of all these trends, and we want to support you and how our products and tools can help you grow in these trends and seize the opportunities because of these trends. And then there's platform marketing. So there are people who specialize just doing the platforms themselves. So there are people who do Instagram marketing, there are people who do WhatsApp marketing, and they come up with like the playbook for how the rest of the business should use these platforms. And then we also have our in-house advertising like agency sort of. So these are the people who we work closely with as the marketing managers. We work very closely with them, and they come up with the concepts, the design, the brand guidelines, and we come up with the program together. And then of course there are digital marketers. So we do our own ads. So we put ads on LinkedIn. We want to showcase how Facebook can be useful for other businesses, right? To advertise and spend money on. So we do our own ads on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and our in-house digital marketing teams are the ones who buy media for us. So these are the media buyers, the media planners, and they work with media agencies to so that we we create a media plan to showcase our Facebook as a tool. And then there's audience marketing. So these people are segmented according to the different size of the businesses, like SMBs or agency marketing, partner marketing. And then there's also consumer marketing. So this is Facebook as a consumer brand. So anything that you see, like, okay, Facebook celebrates Mother's Day, or Facebook, we put out a message about the crisis, about COVID. A lot of there's a huge part of the business that is not business per se, business marketing per se, that's consumer marketing. And then there's community advocacy. So these people collect a lot of stories, stories about small business resiliency, and how people, a lot of community stories, right? Like how people have used Facebook to connect with their loved ones, or so that's community advocacy. And then I'm currently doing lead generation for SMBs in general. So that is via a lot of email marketing, and basically building campaigns to educate our SMBs how to use the platform and who they can call for help if they want to up-level their advertising. So this is an example of a program in Facebook that I worked on. So this is called cross-border business. So in this program, it shows you, that Facebook can help to bring you to a closer world. Go to our website and watch all these videos to see how we have helped to connect businesses with Facebook and partner experts as they try to enter Thailand. So this is a Korean company trying to enter Thailand. This is a Taiwanese brand trying to enter US, and Facebook helps to facilitate all of that, with our ecosystem of partners, of experts, and this is an example of a program that I built. So within the program, the business can view like success stories to see how other businesses have done it. The business can get insights and see what consumers in other markets are thinking. They can also, download a solutions playbook to see what Facebook solutions they can implement for their business. So this is an example of a B2B marketing program. Yeah, so these are some of the assets that I was talking about. This is like a solutions guide that I built with a colleague. Business, we want to drive downloads, right? We want to drive people to download this and to implement the solutions and to speak to their client, to their sales teams at the end of the day, because we want to get them interested in how we can support and grow their business for them using Facebook products and tools. So this is an example of what the Small Business Economic Impact team did. They partnered with Tan Franz, from Queer Eye, and they did a series show, and he basically in the series met with different small business owners and they talk about how they have been using Facebook advertising for their small business. So this is just some examples of what people in Facebook do when it comes to marketing. And we also have an internal research arm called Facebook IQ. So they produce a lot of content about topics, trends, articles, stuff that different businesses may be interested in different verticals or different industries. Especially if you want to find out the latest stats, and how to make use of the Facebook products to seize these opportunities. We also have a small business hub. So this team, they come up with a lot of material specific to what might be useful for small businesses. And this is an example of a campaign that I recently did, which is an email and Facebook ad campaign, speaking to small businesses in Japan. And we try to localize a message for them and try to get them to, we want to educate them about our products. Okay, so I've been asked to talk about some of the marketing trends of 2021 or some trends that I see right now. I'm just going to touch on a few. I hope this is useful for you. I think, so the first trend I see is brand accountability. I think brands that are seen to be purposeful generally grow faster, right? Nowadays, like consumers are very woke, right? There's a new term in this generation. And that we have more access to knowledge. Consumers are asking more questions and asking really good questions. So brands have an accountability to consumers, and very purposeful brands like Unilever, like P&G. I think we generally have seen them being able to sustain for a longer time, right? And if consumer brands that have a higher order brand purpose, consumers generally want to pick up these brands, right? So consumers are getting more and more savvy. And so I think brands need to acknowledge that as well. So a very big theme this year, actually more and more, right, is diversity and inclusion. And I think that is very important, especially for tech. That's one of our core values. As Facebook, we stand for diversity and inclusion. So I think that, brands, there's an accountability factor here. Brands need to understand this, and to be progressive in their messaging, and be inclusive in their messaging. So sustainability is also another big trend under brand accountability. Consumers know what they want, they know what they'll pay for, and they know what, they want to know what ingredients go into the products, they want to know what materials go to make the stuff that they buy. So this is very important. Okay, the next trend is, of course, influencer marketing. I don't think I have to go into this. I'm sure all of you are very familiar and you follow a lot of influencers on Instagram and Facebook. This is definitely a trend of marketing today. Video also continues to surge. 1 billion Instagram stories, WhatsApp stories, Messenger stories are shared today. And whenever you produce video, you need to think of both vertical and horizontal, right? I'm sure all of you know that. And so these two trends, contribute to what we call the discovery marketing. So 68% of respondents that we did in a survey discover new products through online inspiration and influence. That means, like, even if they were not looking for something before, they discover these new products online, right? On social media, via search, and a lot of it is via social media, short video and messaging. And 25% is medium length videos, 5% is long form videos. And we call this generation of consumers as discovery generation. And a lot of young people like you are part of this discovery generation, where your purchasing habits are largely based on your shopping, on your online behavior, right? Okay, the next trend is marketing automation. So with the help of artificial intelligence and machine learnings and things, so you see things like chatbots, like email marketing, and there are companies like MailChimp that does these email automations. Like, all those are part of automation. And I think, people always want to be more efficient, right? In the way they spend their time, the way they work, and automation is the way to go. Yeah. So these marketing automation is getting more and more clever, right? With machine learning and Facebook Messenger, the way Facebook works, Facebook advertising, there's definitely a lot of machine learning there. So internet privacy and data security, this is, of course, always a sensitive topic, but this is, I think the Facebook knows, and that everyone, is getting more savvy with the data that they provide, or the data that they share. But we also, of course, your data is your own, and the best person to be in control of data is you. So Facebook has what we call off Facebook activity, and you can Google it. You can delink. You can switch this button on and basically deactivate a lot of the data that you've previously given. So Facebook does believe that your data is your own, and you need to be in control of your data. So I think this is a trend that we see today as more people question about the data that they give on the internet. Okay, the future of events is hybrid, and I think we've seen a lot of that because of that, and a lot of that has risen because of COVID. I think content is king. That, like, we have been doing Facebook Live, I think more and more you'll see events to be very contactless with QR codes, where people and more investments will be made in optimal virtual experiences. So I just came from a wedding that was on YouTube Live, right? And they had digital MCs, right? So the in-person, the people who are able to attend the wedding in person, which is only 100 people in Singapore in a venue, they had a physical MC. But the people who tune into YouTube also had a digital MC, right? And there's an example of investing in a great virtual experience, because you don't want the people who are watching to feel very lost. You want to include them in the event. So this is an example these things that we need to think about on how to make the virtual experience optimal. So of course, there's virtual reality, augmented reality. These things have been, growing in the past few years, and they'll continue to grow as we become more and more digital in the way we connect. But sustainability is also a necessity. I think when we get to resume physical events, people want to know that nothing is going to waste. They are like if you have to be at a physical event, it is being efficient, in terms of cost and in terms of the environment. And of course, safety is going to be more and more prioritized. So this is an example of a Bluetooth tracker that I saw on the internet. These things are going to happen more, right? Like people are going to focus on social distancing, on hygiene, just because I guess it's something that we have taken advantage of, and COVID has really shown in a big way that we need to rethink these things again. So I think this is a trend of how events are moving, both offline and online, because of COVID. Okay, so social commerce, this has been growing for the longest time, right? In Indonesia, it's very big, I'm sure, and a lot of people buy via WhatsApp. But more and more, you'll see people buying via video. A lot of the technology companies, a lot of social media companies are investing more in this, right? So like TikTok, YouTube, shoppable ads, Facebook shops, Instagram shops. You will be able to purchase off video like that in the near future, if not already. Okay, so I think as youth, as young people, like this is one way to get in touch and to continue to always be continuously learning. We have this thing called Facebook Blueprint, which basically there are a whole bunch of e-learning modules and courses that you can sign up for and to educate yourself on Facebook advertising. And so there's media buying, there's community management, there is media planning, and these are step-by-step tutorials to help you build your digital marketing knowledge. So this is something that is very accessible that you can do. You can pay for the certification and get this blueprint certification, which you can put on your LinkedIn and work for agencies that do media buying and planning for big clients using Facebook. I think this is something that I would encourage all of you to do if a career in marketing technology, in digital marketing is something that you're looking out for. This is definitely a good place to start. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about some behaviors I feel is important for in today's world, right? So I think what Caroline touched on earlier about staying agile, that's very important. We need to change is happening all the time. So we need to be able to fail fast, learn fast, and improve fast. And I think, that, there's no shame in making mistakes. We're all always learning, and I believe that we're always a work in progress. But I think it's very important to stay agile and be open to change because, the world we live in is very unpredictable, right? So we need to always be prepared for that change to happen. And this is a term that I learned in earlier in my career, which is called growth mindset. So there's a whole book on it. And basically what it is that you see failure as an opportunity to grow. Instead, the reverse of that is a fixed mindset where you feel limited by your abilities, you feel failure more because of a fixed mindset. So in a growth mindset, you see challenges as helping you to grow. You see crisis as an opportunity. We ask for feedback from other people. We get inspired by other people. We want to try new things. But if you're in a fixed mindset, you give up easily. You don't like to be challenged. You blame other people, or you stick to what you know. So I'll encourage all of you to really build a growth mindset. And I think this is not something that you have or don't have. You can build it, you can develop it, and you can continuously find people who can help you to develop in this area, or you can and there are a lot of resources online to help you build a growth mindset. So I think this is a really important mindset to build, not marketing per se, but just as you are starting on your careers. Yeah. And I guess the last mindset I would say is think outside the box. Especially in this environment, it's important to, be creative, to come up with, to see things outside that people don't necessarily see. I think that is how you can stand out from the crowd. Okay, so just want to end with 5 things I think are antidotes in a fearful COVID world. I know this is, I know some of you may be thinking like, maybe worried about the kind of jobs that you have in this environment. It's very hard to find a job as a fresh graduate. I understand that. But I just want to encourage all of you to think about some behaviors and thoughts that you can have, in this time when things are very unpredictable. So the first thing I think is humanity. I think that, you focus on the stories that remind you of the goodness of humanity and the power of human connection, right? There are so many people doing so many good things, on the side, and things that not everyone sees, but things are important, right? So I think there's people we should actively share and seek stories that celebrate the best of the human spirit, especially in a time like this. The second point is time. I think, time may be the greatest gift in this crisis, right? I think, yeah, we may not know. Yeah, we don't know what we need. Sometimes we know what we want, but sometimes we don't know what we need. And maybe time is something that has been gifted to us in this crisis for us to make use of. How can you spend that time in a way that will bring you joy and happiness now and for the future? And when you look back 10 years next time, like next time in the future, when you look back 10 years ago, you'll be asking yourself, what did I do in this time, when I was locked down at home, when I couldn't really hang out with my friends? How do you use that time, right? Think about how you can use time, especially in this new year, how to restore some balance in your life. Maybe it's something that you've always been wanting to try, like learn a language or start a project, or like develop new habits, reconnect with friends. So I would say, like, focus on things that you can grow and you can build and you can develop, more than being fearful, right? The third thing is serendipity. I think there's obviously a lot of disruption that has resulted from COVID, which is very, very stressful. And everyone has a different kind of stress. Everyone has different levels or different things that they are stressed about. But yeah, I'll encourage all of you to find the silver lining in a time like this, right? And look out for things that will bring you peace, even the nature around you, or going for a walk, or even drinking good coffee. Like this, just some little things that you can feel content with in this time. So the fourth thing is generosity. This photo actually, I wanted to highlight this. So this was a small project that I started with my friend in April 2020. So we saw in Singapore, the lockdown happened end of March, and everyone was stuck at home, right? We couldn't leave. If we left the house, we will get literally we'll get fined. Like there are people who will fine you and you have to pay $1,000 because you are disobeying the law. So everyone stayed at home, and I saw that everyone was doing food delivery, right? With Grab Food, with Food Panda. So I decided to get on board the food delivery bandwagon. This lady, she's Indonesian. She's married to a Singaporean man. They have 4 children below the age of 7, and they live in a 1-room flat in Singapore. So they're considered low income. She's on social welfare, but she bakes really good brownies. And so when she reached out to me and she asked me for help, I tried her food, and actually the brownies were very dry. But I got this friend, the one in the center of the photo. She's very good in baking. So I told my friend, please look at the recipe. It was in Bahasa, so we had to translate it to English. And we found out that she was using things that there were ingredients that were cheaper for her, but they were not necessarily, but the brownies was very dry. So what my friend did was to look into the recipe, change a few ingredients, and then after that coach her. And so after a few tries, a lot of back and forth, today the brownies are really good, and she has been earning a lot. I mean, this has really given her good revenue, especially because her husband lost his job as a cleaner during COVID. So we wanted to help her and her family. And I think this is more sustainable than giving cash, right? Like it's always more sustainable to empower somebody with a skill, or and it's really increased her confidence because she can now earn money for her family. And yeah, and I think, you know, think about how you can be generous with your time, with your skills, with your youth, right? I think being at a young age is always a privilege, right? Think about how you can be generous with that time to help other people around you. And the last thing is humor. I know that like it's very hard to find humor in such a time like this, but it's very important for your own mental health and wellness. And so think about things that will make you laugh, or things that will make you give or appreciate or acknowledge or support other people. And yeah, I think these are things that are more important lessons in the long run. You know, of course, it's always important to find ways on how to upskill yourself, and you can do that very practically with learning the Facebook blueprint, participating in all these undergrad, you know, projects and courses that the companies create. But I think these are some mindsets and attitudes that you need to also be building in this time of your life, because these are the things that will sustain you in the longer run. So with that, I will end my presentation. Thank you very much.
Splendid, Samantha. Well, not only we learn and gain insights about B2B marketing, we also gain some life lessons from Samantha, so it's really great. Okay, so is my voice clear? I just wanted to confirm.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, wow, we have lots of questions here. So, okay, let's start from Anissa Diarahma. So, Anissa wants to ask you, in your opinion, which one is more effective between influencer marketing or offering products directly to consumers that consumers can directly try the product?
So I think, of course, it depends on the size of your business and where you are starting out, right? If you are a small business, and also depends on what you are selling. You know, if you're selling a physical product, sure, you may be able to do sampling, but the cost of that is actually very high, right? In a time like this when everyone's stuck at home, how are you going to do sampling? Are you going to send to everybody's houses? You know, and but if you do influencer marketing, I always believe, especially for a small business, influencer marketing is very effective for brand awareness and to get the word out there. Of course, when it comes to conversions and getting people to try, maybe it has a different impact. But again, influencer marketing is a very large word, right? There are many different kinds of influencers, and now the trend is micro influencers or nano influencers. So they may not have like 100,000 or a million followers, but you have 2,000, like 5,000, you know, there's a micro influencer. And these influencers, they have a higher engagement as compared to influencers with a huge reach that may see lesser engagement from their followers. So I think, again, it goes back to your objective, your business goal, the type of product that you are selling, you know, the stage of your business. Are you at the awareness, the consideration, or the conversion stage? And as well as your consumers, who are the ones buying from you? You know, are they even would they even be open to influencers, right? That's something that you have to think about.
Great. So back again, it's the basic of marketing, how we should understand and put our shoes in the shoes of our consumers, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the next question is from Maynita. So Samantha, what is your biggest failure so far in your journey through the marketing field, and how do you bounce back and deal with that?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think a lot of times the failure is in your own personality. So I mean, I would say that there's definitely been times before I feel like, and I feel this huge sense of like an imposter syndrome, right? Like, is this really the right place for me? How come I'm so lousy compared to all the other people around me? You know, like, why is everyone so smart? You know, so I think a lot of times that, like, if you're stuck in that mindset, that is where the failure comes in, right? But you know, along the way, I've been blessed to have mentors who speak into my life. You know, people who put things into perspective. And I think it's just about having a different perspective about this of the same situation that can help you to bounce back. Yeah.
Great. So now we know, guys, perspectives and our mindset is really something that affects our mentally and our physically. So the next question is from Maulina Dwilestari. Samantha, what is the main difference that you feel when you work in Facebook and when you work in other companies? So what are the differences?
I've only worked in two, three companies before. So I guess the main difference between Facebook and Unilever is where everyone comes from. So basically in Facebook, everyone is from every industry. A lot of people are from different industries. But traditionally in FMCG, in a consumer packaged goods company like Unilever, people are usually from like other consumer goods companies. So people from P&G go to Unilever, people from Unilever go to P&G, and then they, you know, so, but the difference in Facebook is that like there's so many people from different industries. So that of course is more exciting. You know, it's more diverse and more inclusive. So in Facebook, they're very strong on women, you know, women leadership, right? So yeah, I've never seen so many female leaders before, so that's very inspiring because I have a lot of role models around me. And yeah, that is something that is different, and there's part of the culture of Facebook that is different from other companies. But of course, every company has its own culture, right? Every company has its own culture, both good and bad, that is specific to the company's brand. Yeah, so you know, I can't say it's good or bad. Like, it's just every company is different, right? Every company has its own strengths and weaknesses.
Yes, guys. So you can't just say that one company is the same because basically every company has its own culture. And so it's just a matter of how we can adapt to that culture. So the next question is from Ida. She's asking, what is the challenge in using social media as marketing strategy, and how should crimes in customer data privacy in social media be prevented?
I mean, like Facebook has a huge department that focuses on that. You know, that there's a huge department that just looks into, you know, cyber, all these cyber crimes, and so it's called business integrity, and they try to take down all these things before it explodes, and these things happen in varying sizes and in different events and different stages every day. And so the business is definitely very concerned about the well-being of all its users, and that is our priority.
Okay, great. So the next question is from, wait, I can't see the name here. So let's just go to the question. So, what is the opportunity because there's a change in consumer behavior due to the COVID-19, and what are the risk factors as we progress into the digital economy?
Sorry, what's the first part of the question?
So the question was about the opportunities because there are changes in the consumer behavior after the COVID-19 pandemic. What are the risk factors regarding this? Because
Okay,
we go
yeah,
to the digital. Mhm.
sure. So, yeah, I think, I mean, in general, it's an opportunity to be able to connect with people in another part of the world, right? Imagine you know, you see so many successful companies in Indonesia that have exported to various places around the world, right? I think that is a huge opportunity in itself. Risk, I think that, I mean, with COVID and with borders, of course, you know, on one hand, e-commerce is rising, the behavior of e-commerce is rising, but on the other hand, like logistics, you know, aeroplanes, like these things are more expensive. There are longer shipping times. So these are also the risks involved. But I think it doesn't mean that the opportunities are not there. So you just have to weigh the different risk levels.
Okay, great. So the next question is from Rizky. How Facebook's business model will adapt to Apple's iOS platform's take on new privacy regulations and the opt-in functionality upon individuals' web tracking?
I don't think I am suited to answer that question. Yeah, I mean, the company definitely knows this. This is definitely priority, and there are definitely controls that advertisers can take. But I'll leave that for now.
Okay, great. So the next question is from Mega. She's asking, some people think social media is just a waste of time. So how do you promote that social media has many advantages and helps with the daily activities of people and businesses?
So yeah, that's an interesting question, right? I think it all boils down to your own personal belief. I mean, everything can be bad, right? Like everything good can be bad. And everything is, everything has to be done in moderation. So like a glass, yeah, I mean, too much exercise and if you get obsessed over it, it's also bad, right? Or if you only eat, if you, I don't know, if you like McDonald's but you eat it every day, of course it's going to be bad. So social media is like that, right? I personally believe that the benefits outweigh the disadvantages and the demerits of it because of so many things, so many possibilities that happen for people on the platform. These low income women that I serve, that I've helped to build an Instagram business, just on Instagram, but I built a home-based business for her, and she's now able to get revenue of $3,000 Singapore every month compared to zero from before. Like, that is an opportunity, right? And that has helped her to put her kids through school in Singapore, which is very expensive. She has paid like for childcare, for to provide daily necessities. So these are all because of social media, right? But of course, if you spend if your whole life is on social media and you don't go out and you're just at home all day and you're obsessed over it, and of course it's not going to be good for you. So I think everyone has to personally decide how to balance that for themselves. Yeah. And I
Okay,
would
guys.
say
So
that,
another.
I would say in general, like ultimately it's just a platform like any other platform. And there will always be people who are bad, right? There will always be bad apples. And none of us are perfect, right? We're all human. We all make mistakes. So of course, anything can be used for both it's good and it's bad. And social media is like that. That's how I see it. Yeah.
Great. So, guys, as you can see, we learned another life lesson here. Balance it, even though it's social media and you love it, but you still need to balance it with your social life, okay? So, another question here from Venecia for Samantha. How to create good and interesting marketing content so that customers can be interested in our product despite the fact that the business may be quite generic?
Yeah, so I think you have to understand there are a few factors here. Of course, there are a lot of creative considerations that you can take. Have your brand up in the first 3 seconds. Make sure the first 3 seconds are super engaging. Make sure you do vertical because that's what people are consuming on. How make sure that even when people watch the video with the sound off, I can understand what is happening, right? So the same things that attract you and me, we would like do that, right? Make eye-catching, like attention grabbing content. But also it's very important to understand the type of industry, like the type of action that you want the consumer to take. So not all the time we want them to just watch the video, right? Sometimes we want them to leave their details and we want to create leads. So Facebook ads, there's an objective called lead generation, when you can create you can drive people to fill up their details in a lead form. So that even though your product is not interesting, but that is content. You want to create content to drive people to this action that you want them to take, right? In Facebook advertising, you can also get people who have left, who have previously been on your website, but they haven't bought anything yet. They're all stuck in the cart. They have added things to the cart, but they didn't check out. So you can also retarget all these people. So that is, an objective that you can set using the Facebook ads. So that is not something that's super interesting, but that is something that will be effective for your business. So I think you have to first ask yourself, what is the objective at the end of the day, and how am I going to get there?
Great. So we learned another insight here. Set your objectives so your business can achieve the goal that it wants to have. So I think this will be the last question because our time is limited. So the question is from Nancy. So how to create interesting copywriting for our consumers? Is it based on our best-selling product or just pick the hot product or new product based on trend? And what kind of AI or artificial intelligence program that Facebook use?
Okay, about the copywriting, I mean, I think it's this question is quite generic. Like, it depends on what you're selling at the end of the day. Of course, you need to be clear. I think the main thing to say is that you need to have a call to action. So I think Caroline touched on this earlier. It's the same principles as we would sell shampoo or soap, or we need a very clear call to action. What are the benefits that people are going to get when they use your product? What is the value that you're giving them? And what is the action that you want them to take? Do you want them to buy? Do you want them to try? Do you want them to change? Or I think those are the some principles that you can think about as you do your copywriting. Yeah.
Okay, great. So, because copywriting is basically how to attract your consumers into remembering or thinking about your product. So we need to identify the value of the product and also write the things that may attract your consumers into your product. Thank you very much, Samantha. That's actually the last question for today's session. It was really nice to having you, Samantha, and Caroline as our keynote speakers for today. Well, ladies and gentlemen, from all over the Asia Pacific region, that actually wraps up our webinar for today. On behalf of Asia Pacific Youth Service and BIMARC, I would like to thank our both keynote speakers here, Samantha and Caroline, for their awesome, inspiring, and insightful sharing session. So, thank you very much, everyone, for making your time. But before we leave, I would like to ask everyone here to kindly turn on your camera so we can have a quick photo session. Okay, so has everyone turned on their camera already? We see some pretty beautiful and handsome faces. Okay, we're still waiting. Okay, we have more and more people. Okay, guys, let's wait for a little while. We have lots of slides here, like around 30 something grids, so it's quite a lot. Okay, let's just start from here. 1, 2, 3. The first slide. The second slide. Third slide. The fourth slide. The fifth slide. Keep your smiles, guys. The sixth slide. The seventh slide. Okay, so actually that's all. Thank you very much, everyone, and don't forget to fill in our feedback form so you can be eligible to get the e-certificate. Okay. Thank you, everyone, and have a nice day. Don't forget to follow us on social media at APYouthS and at BIMARC.co. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for our